Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Late Night on Base. Happy Tuesday, Cinco de Mayo, Taco Tuesday in America. I don't know if they celebrate Cinco de Mayo outside of America, but doesn't matter. Enjoy tacos. They're delicious. What's up, everyone? Buildable here, back at it. Really good to see everyone. I noticed, Big E, you're saying the music is your jam. You, my friend, are what we call a Chad. Because if you like the music that I put out, then I don't need to know anything else about you. I just know you are a Chad. I appreciate you for tuning in. Today's gonna be a good episode, guys. Oh, by the way, what kind of host am I? This episode is brought to you by Swap Royale, the official sponsor of Late Night on Base for the month of May. Fantasy trading contests, real-time prices, real prizes, and win from your phone. Swap Royale. Download the app today. If you're a Late Night on Base sponsor, I got to plug myself, bro. You get good value. Swap Royale wants to come on, and my man, we're going to push them. Multiple streams per the month. Commercial played. Good value. It's not just a banner. Nah, we do things different. So anyway, check out Swap Royale. Today, we got a really, really good show. A lot of my guests are always great, but this one in particular, I'm very excited for because we got Emily Jr. on and Lien. I'm really excited for that one. And the reason why, forget about price. I know most people only care about that. And listen, I'm a DJ in the trenches. Number goes up. We all like it. And that's great. And it's going to probably continue to go up. It's just a really good project. And with Lee running it, I mean, as good as it gets from, one of the OG members of DRB or OG holders. But I'm excited because it's a real world utility, basically the concept, bringing it on chain. This is not just like our little crypto bubble. This is actually bringing property liens on chain. In my opinion, real estate's very antiquated. The systems are just horrific. And it's so old fashioned. So now bringing something that's a real problem in the real world on chain, there's a massive opportunity. So I'm excited to talk to him more about that. So he'll be on in a few minutes. He's running late, but you guys are stuck with me for the meantime. And we've been averaging around almost 3K a show in the last couple of weeks. So right now we're at 352. So come on now, reshare this, send it to your people. And also, we're excited to have Ethereal Labs on. Recently got in touch with them, and they've had their hand on a lot of projects behind the scenes. Basically, they're a Web3 development agency. So they've worked on some really good projects like Sport Fun and tokenomics comp. So it's good to have the infrastructure plays and learning about what behind the scenes what goes on. So they'll be on the second half of the show. All right, so let's turn in. And guys, and if you're new to the channel, bro, first of all, follow me. It's free, bro. That's how I roll. Second of all, we do this Monday through Thursday. I really am on my TPBN arc, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I want that. I'll eventually want that bag. I don't care about anything else though. except highlighting builders, putting the spotlights, because there's so much cool stuff happening on not just on base, but just in crypto and AI, tech, off chain, in the real world. So come to the show. We give builders distribution Monday through Thursday, noon PST. All right. News of the day, though. We have to talk about probably the biggest thing, I think, currently, besides, the stock market just literally going parabola. All right, Brian Armstrong today just announced, in case you guys didn't know, they laid off 14% of Coinbase's workforce, 14%. And he goes on to say, Coinbase is well capitalized, but AI is changing how we work. Over the past year, what used to take AI engineers days what used to take team weeks is now done in days. Non-technical teams are automating everything every single day. So this is basically leading to the fact that they have to cut, bloat and downgrade and because people are more productive. So it sucks in the one sense that, real lives are affected, right? 15% of the workforce, 15% are gone. And many of the people that, have announced that they left have been people that I've known and come a couple of years ago or for the couple of years. And, it's the reality of the situation, right? And so one of the things we do on this channel is we want to simplify to the normies what the hell is going on, because we take it for granted that like AI, like if you're in crypto, you kind of know what's going on. If you're on crypto Twitter, you definitely, if you're in tech, you know what's going on. But we're just like literally like our little bubble, right? The majority of the world, your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle don't necessarily know exactly what's going on. And I think news like Coinbase, cutting jobs, it's only going to come, it's only going to start. And over the next 12 to 18 months, I think the workforces everywhere are going to just downgrade. So it's a harsh reality of the situation. It's good that AI allows us the opportunity to build things, but it's also the downside that people are going to lose their jobs. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's just the reality of the situation. So anyways, Coinbase laid off 14% of the people. Hopefully they get through. All right, next up, before Lee comes on, when he comes on, we're going to start. I know you guys are here for him. I don't blame you. Super Chad. I'm just like a mini Chad. Emily, Super Chad. All right. This one, though, we talked about it yesterday, too, and I posted some videos. But, dude, if you guys are actually a Bitcoin bear right now, I really want to know why. If you guys are really for your cycle theories, because I don't see how anyone can be a bear right now. I really don't. And one of the reasons why is just to kind of see, just look at this. Just look at this. Dude, SanDisk is like, doesn't go down. Once again, SanDisk does not go down. If you see a chart like this in the traditional equity market, you're telling me, if you're a bear, that risk on is not here. And you're telling me that eventually when things stall, they're not going to go to another asset class that hasn't really caught up yet, which is crypto. Gold has already ran. The equity market, the tech stocks have already run. Like I wouldn't buy this with a 10-foot pole now. The time to buy was obviously last year, like 50. But dude, this thing went from like 50. It's currently at $1,400. This is like meme coin gains. We used to make fun of the stock market. So you're telling me none of this money is going to flow into crypto? I think you're for your cycle theory, people. I think you're going to be wrong. Human nature is such where we're always going to look for the next best thing. And I think money is going to absolutely flow into alts. I mean, just look at Zcash. I think Zcash is one of the nicest charts I've seen in a while. I personally got some Zcash as well just recently. I've never even touched Zcash, but dude, you cannot deny this chart. So listen, if you guys are bear, Godspeed, go short the market because you're going to get blown the fuck out, in my opinion. I really do think so. I mean, this is, I think everything tops in 2026, personally. I don't know about you guys, but I do think so. And I'm here for it, baby. I'm here for it. But regardless, green days or red days, it don't matter because your boy is still going to be talking. Let's see. We're still going to wait for Emily. FOMO, what is up? Dude, I haven't talked to you in a while, man. FOMO is a legit Chad. I think you retired for a little bit. But such a good dude. I respect you, man. Anytime you want to come on the show, would absolutely love to come on. Let me chat real quick with Emily. Okay, I got to send him the link once again. All right. Yeah, so Emily will be on very soon. Okay, so Emily will be on. Let me just he was on a Google Meet right now. Let me just make sure he's not on that. BRB, friends, BRB. So we're gonna wait a second until we get Emily. So patience, bro. Patience. Of course we're gonna talk about Ella. Of course we're gonna talk about it, bro. Of course. But I can't talk about it without the legend appearing. So we're waiting for Emily. Patience, child. Patience. But Sugar, you're in luck because we just have a Chad just joined us. Emily Jr., welcome to the show, my friend. How you doing?
What's going on? Jumped right in.
You did, dude. The people want to talk. They don't my intros, and I don't blame them. Listen, I think my intros are really good. I really do. I think I bring some good heat. I'm like basically the boomer thread guy, but they want to talk Lien Fi, bro. So let's give them what they want. So talk to me.
Awesome.
Emily
Well,
Jr.
yeah, thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Sorry I'm late. I was just hopping from another call. So
no problem at all, brother. No problem at all. Well, number one, just want to say congratulations on the success. Obviously you kind of resurrected the trenches a little bit. Things are looking really good. So I just want to say congratulations, man. It's been a long time.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been great. I mean, we've been working on this for quite a while. Going back to last year, and really excited to get it L-Fi launched and then the platform launched. We've got early access for early access signups open for quite a while, and we've got a really good group of folks that have signed up to use the platform in early access, and so excited about that. And the token launch went off well. And the next phase, we'll get the platform going to the early access folks, the folks that have signed up for early access, and get them in. And then shortly thereafter, we'll open up for full production launch. And but the platform, it's ready. It works right now. We're really looking forward to showing the world what we've built. And the funny thing is about building stuff like this, if you would have asked me in November of last year, or if you would have asked me in September of last year, when are you going to be launching? I would say we're probably like a month away. And I feel like for the entire time since then, we've perpetually been a month away from launching. And when I talk with the engineers, they're like, your timelines are too aggressive. Like, you don't understand. Like, and you always have new feature requests. So anyway, we got there. It's very exciting, and it's I can't wait to get the platform rolled out. And I think it's something valuable because we saw stable coins come on chain and capture that product market fit, and over 300 billion now in stable coins. And then after that, after stable coins kind of took off, treasuries started to take off. And because when you have dollars naturally seek yield. So that makes sense to see treasuries kind of north of 10 billion now, maybe a little higher than that. And I was following on this whole RWA deal since very early, before it was even maybe as popular as it is now. And going back to some of the first treasuries on chain. And after I learned about tax liens, I started to realize that this is a really nice asset to bring on chain, because they're yield generating, they're backed by the property, and they're very consistent. So institutions allocate to tax liens to generate consistent and predictable yield, and for the fact that they're non-correlated to the rest of their portfolio. So if you put tax liens up against traditional equity or fixed income or even alternative credit, like aviation finance or litigation or aviation lending and litigation finance, we've done these studies because our allocators ask for them, and this is not on the LienFi side. This is my other business that this kind of spawned from. But the fact that tax liens are not correlated, they don't really have much market exposure. They don't really have any market exposure. Creates more efficient portfolios when you add something like this to it because of the diversification benefits that tax liens bring to the table. So it's a great asset class. Most of the liens, I went to, when I first started learning about liens, I went to some of these, some folks put on classes, and even on TikTok, people are talking about tax liens, which I realized. And I was so, not disgusted, but I just couldn't believe, like, well, a lot of people sell tax liens as like a great way to acquire property. Yeah. And they, get retail to come in and, buy tax liens, and you can get property for cheap. And it's really not the case. Greater than 99% of all liens redeem, and redeem means that the face value is paid with interest and in some cases penalty, so the lien's cleared. So, and then out of the 1% that don't, yes, it's backed by the property, so you can move to foreclose if it doesn't happen. But even after the redemption period ends, some of these liens redeem up to right up into basically like the court steps. So this is not like a property acquisition strategy. Liens in general is not like, this is a cheap way to get property. Now, if you buy 1,000 liens, you're going to end up with some property that you got for very inexpensive, but retail doesn't go out and buy like 1,000 liens. Institutions do in funds. So what we've looked to do with LienFi is bring that yield, the real world yield on chain, and then add some unique kind of benefits on top of that. In the event of property disposition or foreclosure outcomes, additional upside to folks that are participating on the platform. So we've built that mechanism, and let me pause because I kind of just jumped right into it, and I'm going off on. I just thought of 5 other things I want to say, and I'm like, okay, I better.
No, let's. Okay, so full of knowledge you just laid out, and I want to circle back on everything. So one of the things that we do on Late Night on Base, the goal of this show is to bring exposure, yes, but to get the real world involved, because I try to make sure that my projects go outside the crypto bubble. That's how we grow. The crypto bubble is great, but in order for a project to do really well, we have to go traditional distribution through Spotify, dumb it down to the normies to get them into this world. So that's my goal. Your project is fascinating to me, and I'm not talking about price. That's great, but I like the project. I come from a real estate background as well in the real world. My family is in the multifamily industry, and one of the things was tax liens. And the real estate market in general is so antiquated. The systems are so just poor and just so old. Title, liens, and liens and specifically are very, very complex because, like, I don't know, just going to the courthouse stuff. So let's start with this. For those that might not know, and we'll be putting this on Spotify, and shout out to the 1,889 people tuning in. We got to get at least 3,000 for Emily's Junior's episode.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
Oh, brother. Late Night on Base brings the heat, bro. Late Night on Base brings the heat. All right, but talk to us from a technical point of view. What is the process in the traditional world with a tax lien itself, with a property lien?
Yeah.
Like current format. Let's just walk through that.
Even stepping back. Yeah.
House. What happens? How do you go from being late on your house to an investor making money? Let's start with that.
Yeah. So again, there's so many misconceptions. So I'm glad that you're reining in this back in to take it from the top. And what is a tax lien? So everyone, if you live in a house or live in a county or municipality, those local counties and municipalities, they rely on local taxes to fund their operations, and those operations can be school to pay for the teachers, fire department, roads, whatever your tax revenue. Whatever your tax streams are used locally, that's what property taxes go for. So if you're paying property taxes, are designed to be used to again, to pay the schools, fire departments, and police, things like that. Each of these counties or municipalities, they set a tax budget every single year, and that budget includes the revenue that they're going to generate from taxes, and then that revenue is used to fund all the things that they do to operate in the place that you live. So when there's when folks don't pay or there's a delinquency on the taxes, now there's a shortfall to operate the county or municipality, and because they didn't take in the revenue that they had planned to do. And by law, you have to pay your local property taxes. So the way that it ends up working is if a property, and I will say every state is slightly different. They all have their own different mechanisms, different rules, and how they run auctions, and how the interest rates work, and how the penalty rates work, and the disposition of the property. It's different across jurisdiction. But generally speaking, if a property owner is delinquent on their taxes, the local county is trying to recoup that revenue that's due to them. So they really have two options to recoup that. If someone's not paying, they could take the house and sell it. And let's just say if the house was $100,000 and they were owed $1,000 in taxes at the county, they could take the house, sell it, take their $1,000 and say, okay, we're made whole now on the taxes that were due, and then go to the homeowner, here's your $99,000. Thank you, you've paid your taxes. People, they would not like that very much. They're like, well, wait a second, like you took my house, like I appreciate the money, but now I need some place to live. So tax liens are a mechanism to allow for the local county to recoup the delinquent taxes, for the property owner to stay in their house, and then for an investor to generate a reasonable and consistent return. So how does that work? You take a state like Florida. Another interesting thing is the interest rate on tax liens. They're considered statutory interest rates. And most of us are familiar with market-driven interest rates. Tax liens are statutory, meaning they're set by law. So a state like Florida, the statutory rate in Florida is 18%. Now that seems really predatory. If someone can't pay their taxes and all of a sudden you're coming in and hey, I'll give you a loan to pay your taxes, but it's 18%. There's no real market component to determining what the fair interest rate is if you just said it's statutory, set by law, 18. So the way that Florida does it is you bid on the interest rate at auction. So again, going back to the county, they want their $1,000 in delinquent taxes. They don't care about interest, penalty. They need their operating budget. And so when you go to the auction, the county's like, well, we need our $1,000. Okay, so we'll come to the auction, we'll pay that $1,000. But you're bidding on the interest rate. So, and you could bid in Florida 1/4 basis point. So you could go, I say 18, opening bid's 18. That's the statutory rate. And I come in, I say 17. And Bill, you say 16 1/4. And one of the listeners says 11.75. And you could bid down the interest rate, and low bid wins. So, and that's the interest rate you win. So give an example, Florida runs their auctions in May. They're happening right now. Florida is one of the bigger states for tax lien auctions. And last year in Florida, we were winning, so statutory rate 18. Last year in Florida, we were winning between 6 and 9%. And in some cases higher and in some cases lower, depending on property. But that's the market kind of driven component where you're bidding on the interest rate in a state like Florida. And then if you have the low rate there in the state of Florida, then you would end up winning that auction. And then there's also some penalties associated as well. But ultimately, what ends up happening is the local county, they get their tax revenue, so they're made whole for that tax year. And that budget year, the property holder now is in a redemption period where legally the county can't take their house, and we can't take their house. In Florida, the redemption period is 2 years. So now you get an extension of the shot clock, whereas without the county recouping their tax revenue by selling the house, now they've already got their tax revenue because we came and gave them that money, and in the form of a loan, basically. And we earn when it's redeemed, meaning when the delinquent taxpayer pays the delinquent taxes plus the interest, the lien is cleared. That's when we realize that investment. And this happens about 99% of the time. So it's you end up because of tax liens, foreclosure rates are much lower than they would be without them. The actual delinquent property owner, they don't deal with us. We don't typically go to them. So when the county auctions off this instrument, investors go, they purchase the instrument, and then when the delinquent taxpayer goes to clear this lien and redeem is the technical term, they're redeeming the lien. They go to the county. Typically, they go to the county and they pay that delinquent tax plus interest and penalty, and then the county sends the owner of the lien the proceeds. And again, the county doesn't, they don't take interest and penalty. They're looking for their tax revenue. So the model was created to fund, to make sure the county realizes their budget, and then for the delinquent property owner, it typically ends up in a much better situation than losing their property, because these tax liens, you may buy a tax lien and folks will see when we launch the platform, but some liens are $600, some are. We bought liens that, the most expensive lien we ever bought was a $6 million lien. But so you buy tax liens from $500 to multiple millions of dollars, and so that's how that works, and that's how the lien process works. And most of these end up redeemed, and if they don't, now you end up with a instrument that, let's say 2 years, it doesn't redeem, and you've got this tax lien on the property. Now you can move forward with foreclosure on the property. And if you think about it, most of these liens end up being 3, 4, 5, maybe 10% LTV, which we don't call it loan to value, it's lien to value. So they're very small pieces of the actual value. And it's very, very rare that these properties end up in foreclosure, because basically what ends up happening is we can't pay our taxes, we can't pay our taxes, we can't pay our taxes. The county sends them a notice saying we're going to take your house, and then the money's found, because we're talking, if 5% of the actual value of the property, no one is going to let the property go for 5% of the value. The money gets found. Typically, the foreclosure outcomes end up happening on vacant property, vacant land, or abandoned property that's already been abandoned in not so great areas. And in those cases, you may see more disposition type outcomes. The other thing is the lien's senior to the property. So if the house has a mortgage on it, I love properties with mortgages on them. If the property has a mortgage on it, typically the bank is going to clear the lien, because if they don't, we'll take the property from the bank, because our instruments sit senior to the mortgage. These are super senior instruments. So oftentimes the group that's moving to foreclose is the lender. And if they'd like to foreclose, they need to pay us the accrued interest and penalty up to that point. And then they can move forward with recouping their investment.
So let me ask you this. Obviously, there's a huge need in the world. People are making money. Obviously, not many homes actually get foreclosed, but the interest adds up and people are making money. The municipalities are making their money. Those that are in the interest are making money. So let's now turn the attention as to what on-chain unlocks, because it's a great thing to see a real use case in the real world, bringing it on-chain, because it opens up a lot of possibilities. So what does LienFi enable that can't be done in the traditional world? Is it just increasing the liquidity amongst investors around the world to participate, or is there more to it?
Yeah, the global and permissions aspect here is definitely something that is interesting. So tax liens are not securities. So it's a very unique asset that we can offer global in a global and permissionless way. At the same time, if you look at an institutional fund like we run at my other firm, my adjacent company, that fund is a security offering, and it only holds tax liens. But the hedge fund, the structure of the fund itself makes the structure as a security, not the underlying liens themselves. So you have a number of different hurdles to jump through in that regard. The other thing is, if you want to buy tax liens, there are a number of technological hurdles to go through. I mean, Bill, you could go to the Florida auctions right now, and you can register in the state of Florida and go buy a couple liens on the platform. But there's so many other things that end up happening when you buy a lien, and then you need to record it. It's all like paper pushing stuff. The operational side of lien ownership is very complex. The serving side of holding liens is very complex. What we've done is we've increased our complexity. As we were building this, I keep thinking we've created a lot of like off-chain complexity to bring this on-chain in a very easy way, to bring build on-chain in a very easy way. I think one of the pieces is it opens liens up in a global and permissionless way. Secondarily, through the use of tokens and blockchain, we can do some really incredible things like tracking liens throughout their life cycle. Right now, if you'd like to do that, each county runs their own databases, each state has their own information sources. But to be able to, I'm envisioning a world where all tax liens are on chain, including all of U.S. Treasuries, and I think tax liens sit right there with Treasuries. There's not as big of an addressable market as Treasuries, and the ability to put a lien on chain and be able to track every bit of data around that lien, from ownership to interest rates to redemption timelines. It's very powerful, and we're at the very early stages of doing that. So yeah, that's one of the features, and what tokens unlock is just is really great. So tracking ownership, using blockchain technology to record all of the metadata around liens, and ultimately, Bill, what I think like this ends up getting to is right now, we have all the deal flow needed to seed this platform with high quality liens and instruments right now. We're buying over $100 million of liens every single year. Our fund on the other, again, I want to be clear, this is a separate entity where we run a fund. But at the same time, as I've looked at all of these processes, I do think that a better solution for tax liens than how they are right now, some of these auctions are still in person. You have paper certificates. You're mailing back and forth with counties, paper. We have a custody arm that custodies tax liens. I mean, it's a huge fire safe just filled with paper instruments, and the level of archaicness was an eye opener to me about liens. So this first phase in bringing liens on chain and bringing the economics of liens on chain will hopefully lead to future phases. And if you think about the relationships that we have across the places where we're already major buyers of liens in the country, those are counties that administer these auctions. And I think future phases could see actual issuance from the county and actual auctions being directly on chain. Like that is where that's the real unlock for kind of the overall tax lien space. And I think what we've built positions us to kind of lead that. We don't have a pilot program at a county for issuance right now, but we have a lot of liens, and we have the technology, the people, and the ability to procure liens in a good way, quality liens, to get onto the platform for on-chain allocators. But ultimately, I think what would be where this is all going is that actual issuance, primary issuance. So Mercer County in New Jersey, rather than us going to the auction and buying a couple $1 million worth of liens for our tax lien fund or for LienFi, we go and we're actually buying the instruments from the issuance is done on chain at auction rather than kind of the way that it's done now. So there's a lot of different phases that we'll be bringing out with LienFi, but the first is just launching the platform with the ability for folks to go on, buy liens, and capture yield off of them, with potential for potential upside from real estate outcomes when they do happen.
I think for those, and by the way, shout out to the 3,400 people tuning in. Appreciate each and every one of you. If you guys are on Spotify, when we put this as a podcast episode, I want you to head over probably to YouTube, and I want to show you right now. We're showcasing the website where it's you'll find on-chain fixed yield real estate backed, and it shows right now the current portfolio value. I think, and we have to wrap this up, Emily.
Yeah, and that's just sample data.
Sample data.
And then over the coming days, you won't see this.
Are we getting some alpha, baby? Are we getting some alpha?
Yeah, this is just, if you want early access, you'll sign up here, and then when we open up early access, you'll use that email address that you signed up with to link a wallet. Then that wallet will be able to go on the platform, and that's coming in days. I mean, we're really close.
I think for everyone tuning in, one of the things, like I said, Base is the perfect place for a project like this. Institutional grade investments. People take it seriously. Like, I don't think a project like this would live on Solana. No offense to anyone on Solana, but I think you're in the right chain. But I think you're also the first mover. And I think that's what excites me, because no one's doing this. Literally no one's doing this, especially when it comes to liens. There are other companies out there who've tried, real estate backed loans and stuff like that. But with liens, it's very rare. So, Emily, one last up before my kid.
Oh, I heard one last
question. All right, this is what I want. I want you to close your eyes for a second and picture it is May 5th, 2027. 1 year from now. What is your North Star for LienFi? What are some attributes and metrics that you want to see?
Yeah, so one is TVL on the platform. So we want folks to understand these instruments, and then willing to say, okay, I can earn real yield off of these instruments. Growing TV across the platform, and then the team allocation. The team allocation of the LienFi token. So when you mentioned May 5th, we have 12-month stock, or 12-month clip, and then 36-month linear vest after that. So obviously incentives are when that happens a year from now, that the platform and the ecosystem that we built is as valuable as it possibly can be. So we're aligned with the platform, the holders, and growing value across the platform. And our tax lien fund, again, separate entity, hedge fund has over 100 million in assets. It's and we allocate within that each year to leads. So we'll have to see what product fit looks like on chain. We'll get to high levels of LP if I think what will be the key is if we can some of the vault curators are looking for yield. We just saw Coinbase launched a fund for tokenized kind of instruments. We've proven over 5 years these are great assets for fund structures, institutions. So my parents may go on and buy $5,000 or $10,000 worth of liens.
Yeah, Emily, I think your internet's a little lagging right now, but I think something's up right now. But all good though. Listen, at the end of the day, first of all, number one, again, congratulations on everything. Number two, thanks for coming on such short notice. And number three, we have to, I repeat, have to do this again, bro. And we'll do it proper. And we want to get updates because I know the community's fired, man. They're so excited. And I'm proud of you, man, because you did this launch, a banker launch, which, with the way your tokenomics are set up, and I was looking at it with the vest for 12 months, the cliff for 12 months, meaning your team does not sell tokens and then it's a linear vest. That's unheard of in a good way. That's the standard of how things are done. You probably could have done it anywhere else, but you're giving the trenches an opportunity to participate. So, man, I just want to say I'm rooting for you, brother. I am absolutely rooting for you.
Yeah, thank you to you. And really, it's been really overwhelming, the response that I've gotten. And so thank you. And I feel a great sense of obligation to make this work and do the very best I can to.
Absolutely, my friend. I think the future is bright for LeanFi, and the future is also bright for DRB. If you guys haven't done so already, DRB, Grok has money. In case you guys didn't know, Grok has money. We'll forget about the little exploit, but that actually is not a bad thing. There's no such thing as bad publicity. I'm just saying.
That's right. That's right. We can spend another hour on that. But yeah.
All right, my friend. I appreciate you. We're gonna have some clips made at the end, and a couple like by the end of the day or something, and we'll tag you guys, share it to your community, and then when it's on we'll distribute it everywhere. So, looking forward to getting the podcast up. Emily Jr., thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. That was Emily Jr. I know most of you probably are just gonna want to leave. I don't blame you because that man is legit. And you know, one thing I like about him is he has really been an advocate for the Base ecosystem for years. He's done more for Base than most people have, and I have the utmost amount of respect for Emily Jr. And hopefully, after hearing about it, I mean, how can you not be bullish on LeanFi? I think this is his work, his reputable work. Just want to give a shout out to Chuck Stock. Chuck, my friend, what is up? We got to get you guys back on. Appreciate you, Chuck, for tuning in. All right, guys. So listen, for 1 second, I'm going to be back in 2 minutes. My little boy, or he's not here, I got to put it on the TV. And then once he's done, we got Westy from Ethereal Labs. So stay tuned. In the meantime, I don't know. We're just going to put this website up of LeanFi just because, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Let's see. I'm just going to put up the chart of Zcash because I think this is going to show that all our bags are going to moon in a quick second. Give me a second. BRB, look at this beautiful chart. Send Zcash to the moon. All right, everybody, let's go. Bill's back. I know you missed me. Shout out to everyone tuning in, 3,500 people. Let's get back into it. Again, this episode is brought to you by Swap Royale, aiming to be the #1 consumer app on chain. Fantasy trading contest, real-time prices, real prizes, and win from your phone. Actually, let's just show a quick video from our sponsor. And then we'll bring up Westy from Ethereal Labs.
Better. Prove it. Daily trading contest. Choose your way. Same start, just skill. Be first. This is the real path to win. Every contest. Guaranteed. Real money, not chips. Invite friends and earn rewards.
All right, that was a clip from our sponsor, Swap Royale. So without further ado, though, let us bring Westy to the stage. 1 second, sir. 1 second, my friend. remove this. Add Westy. Westy, my friend.
Yo,
How you
hey.
doing, my friend? Welcome to the show. How's it going?
Yeah, nice to be here. How are you doing? I was watching the first part of the show.
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Another day in this beautiful land. I got my coffee, talking to some dope guests. We got a good turnout today. 3,500. Appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Talk to me. All right, so now we haven't gone way back, but we were introduced by David from the base team, and I really love to talk infrastructure plays because you're kind of behind the scenes of a lot that's going on. So talk to me about Ethereal Labs. What exactly do you guys do?
Yeah, so Ethereal Labs is a base service hub approved Web3 development studio. We build sort of secure, scalable cross-chain products across smart contracts, full stack apps, infrastructure. We've currently delivered around 15 plus projects on different chains. And our work has supported over $1 billion of volume across different chains, Solana, Base, Ethereum, things like that. And we've never had any security instance with anything that we've ever deployed. People might be wondering, well, I haven't heard of you before, but you will have heard of some of our products. So for example, we have worked with sport.fun, which is was originally football.fun, but then got changed to sport.fun as they branched out to more products. And also BZ. So we also work with BZ. People may have heard of them. They're the #1 consumer app on Base. And we facilitate a lot of their smart contracts, the full front end, back end, engineering, things like this. So we've worked on some of the biggest projects on the Base blockchain, and we are an approved Base Services Hub development team, which means that Base themselves have approved us to work on projects for teams.
So you've been approved by Base to work for teams. So in a way, you do contract work for other projects. So I would say, let's talk about this. So you've been working with a lot of different projects in the space.
Yeah.
And you kind of get to know the ins and outs of what, obviously people contract you. In your opinion, though, and you've worked with some good projects, what do you think is the most important thing for a new team or a new project coming in to get the best potential for success? Is it the smart contract aspects? Is it creating some sort of utility, or is it something else in your particular opinion? What is the most when it comes to web development?
So, we've worked with some really successful teams in the space. Like I said, BZ, Sport.fun. We've also worked with teams where it didn't go to plan. Things didn't launch as expected. Or they had some other issues around the market. I think there's a lot of things to take into consideration when you're looking at like what makes a product successful. I think it's easier to make a product more successful during the market when the market is obviously booming. You don't need as much actual like real product for that in those times. We've been developing for 6 years on many different platforms and products. What I see actually makes the biggest difference is the grit of the teams. So you see some people, like if you look at the team over at BZ, the team over at Sport.fun, they are like, they're on all the time. They're constantly thinking about how to improve the product, how to market things in the right way for different markets, if we're in a bull or a bear. And also they have good ideas that clearly work on crypto. I think you see a lot of teams trying to build things for crypto that shouldn't be here. And I think that's fine to have experiments for those things, but often they just don't have, they don't capture an audience that can be long and withstanding. So if you think about, you were talking earlier about how crypto is kind of like this niche space, but we need to really be building products for people outside of crypto, and crypto should just be sort of the rails for how things work. I think, like I said, both BZ and Football.fun hit those really hard. Football.fun obviously is, they're in football and sport. There's not really anything much bigger to handle that. So, there's nothing really bigger in the world than like sport and sports betting and that sort of thing. So that's the perfect example. Another one would be BZ because they work with Pokemon cards and other collectibles. And right now they're huge, right? And they've always been huge. There's always been a market for collectibles. There's always been a market for fun ways to gamify these things with claw machines. And claw machines and arcades have been around for absolutely ages. So it makes perfect sense that these are, that we try and move these on chain, and they have there's real reasons for them to exist on chain. Like trading Pokemon cards is extremely difficult physically, right? So what you can do with BZ is they put them in a vault, and then they create an NFT version of it that you trade around, but you can always claim it from the vault. So these sort of things, which actually make sense on chain, are the ones I think are the most that succeed. But I think it's still very important that you have teams that are there all the time. Like they have the grit and they have the determination. They're constantly looking for new ways to improve the product and new ways to build in the space.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think innovation is only going to improve, especially with AI advancements. Let me ask you this then. With the rise of AI and the tooling available, obviously indie builders are using these to great success. And the whole now at the end of the days is distribution is going to be the hardest thing. But from a developer standpoint, how do you utilize AI in today's world? Because there's still going to be a need for people like you, because you can vibe code all you want, but you still need to give it to somebody at the end to get the next step. But how are you viewing AI in today's world when it comes to Ethereal Labs?
It's changed a lot of stuff for us. When we first built Ethereal Labs, we started in about 2020. And the reality is that AI, especially for coding and development, has made our lives much easier, but it also means we can build much faster. Now, I'm talking magnitudes faster. Something that used to take me a day, let's say 2 weeks, I can now do in a day or two. And that's just the reality of where we are with how much faster you can build things with code. I want to put like a little asterisk on that though, because if you know nothing about code, you're going to get it wrong. And not only are you going to get it wrong, you're not going to be able to scale it. So you have to know what to tell the AIs when you're building these things. You have to know the buzzwords or like how it works. There's been many times where I've been working with Claude, building an application, and it's just getting things wrong, or it's telling me wrong things. It's trying to optimize something that shouldn't be optimized. It's doing all of these things wrong. However, obviously the announcement from Coinbase today explains how things are happening, and this is real. I'm seeing this every day as well, and it's only getting better and better. When Claude released Opus 4.5, I think it was, now on 4.6, that changed everything. And I think we also saw everyone being like, oh, I can just build my own stuff now, and it's really easy, and we don't need developers anymore. But that's not really true, because you constantly need someone to patch these things, to improve them, to understand when things go wrong. And you can't necessarily just be like a one-man team to suddenly build like huge products. But a person who knows what they're doing, I've been an engineer for over 10 years in software, they now literally have 10x the production that they had only 3 years ago, let's say. So it is huge. You can utilize a team like ourselves, Ethereal Labs. We're quite small, we're quite lean. We have a small team, but we're able to work with many different clients. I'm able to push code very fast and make the updates. And because we know what we're doing, we're able to deliver exactly what the client needs and to a high specification. We can then internally audit the code and internally audit the contracts. But of course, we always have third parties who we work with, such as Hacken, where we get them also to audit, especially contracts that we write.
Yeah, no, and I think it's important for the shout out to the 3,640 plus people who've tuned in so far to this stream. I think it's important, especially for indie builders, to understand, yes, AI is out there, the tools are out there that can get you to the MVP stage potentially. But if you really want to excel and succeed, even to the MVP stage, you have to have somebody on your team who is the conductor. I always view AI as a tool, like the orchestra, but there's always a conductor telling it what to prompt, how to overlook it. And if you're not a developer, you're missing it out. And wasting a lot of time because there's so much there. So I think companies like you who understand, who are on the cutting edge, are going to do well. One of my last questions to you, though, is talk to us about the relationship with Base. How did you guys become one of their, I guess, preferred partners that they recommend?
Yeah, so we've had a bit of a long story to us. So we've been in the game for 6 years. We've seen the rugs, we've seen the incompetent teams, we've seen the security flaws, all of that. Back in 2020, when it was like the NFT boom, was when I started the company personally. I founded it back in 2020. And I saw a real entry there for a team who has already developed big products with big companies. I used to work for Saudi Aramco, so I built the virtual reality oil pipeline training platform. I went over to Dubai, helped them build it. So I've worked with high security things. I thought there's something here I'm seeing where there's a lot of developers who are sort of, they don't know what they're doing. They're just building quickly because there's money, right? We all saw how it wasn't NFTs. You could create almost anything and make, let's say, a decent maybe 6 figures or a high 5 figures for something that really was extremely simple to make, but they were still making problems. And this is making big issues with the minting. We all were part of a project where like you could mint infinite NFTs, or you could somehow burn your NFT and mint a new one, or these sort of problems. So I started seeing these problems and I thought, right, I think I can probably come in to fix some of these issues and work with teams to fix problems with that. I helped with one initial launch of an NFT project. It went really well. It minted out in like 3 minutes. And from that, I was able to build up a reputation of being like a reliable developer who works with really secure contracts, is able to build fast, and is just someone you can rely on, right? And after I'd built this up quite a bit, I was able to leave my Web 2 job. And then I hired in my now co-founder. He now works with us. Shout out to Jake. He's currently in Miami at Consensus. And also other developers who we work with who come in are often on a contractual basis, or we have them in-house. So we're able to build that up. And as we continue to build up, I started to go to events. I met Adam from football.fun or sport.fun in Paris. He said, we just happened to be literally in the line at Paris airport to go back to the city in which we both lived in. We didn't even know we lived in the same city, but we did. And then from there, we worked on football.fun. About a year later, he messaged me saying, oh, you were like a developer, right? I think we might need you for a product. I was like, let's meet up, let's have a drink, and let's go. Met up at the pub, and then 8 months later, Football Fun was built. So it really goes to show that like suddenly like one interaction with one person you meet at like an event can like change everything for your company. And Football Fun really for us was like the big springboard for us, because it's still a very successful project, and obviously it had that huge run, right? Like everyone was on it, everyone was like talking about it. And it worked at scale, and that proved to Base that we knew what we were doing as an agency. And then they came to us and was like, we'd like you to be on the Base Service Hub. And of course we accepted. And we've been getting different clients before and now after that. One of the biggest obviously being BZ. BZ probably wouldn't have come to us if we weren't approved as a Base agency. We've got some clear talent and development chops there. And that helped us then build onto working with BZ. And we're now doing lots of stuff with them. We've 7x the speed of their claw. We've 3x almost every page load. We've been working on a lot of their smart contracts to optimize them. We're now working on porting all of their infrastructure over to AWS as they continue to grow. They're hitting milestone after milestone, all-time high after all-time high right now. And we have to make sure that we're ready for the just consistent influx of users onto that platform. So yeah, that's kind of how we became a Base Service Hub. I started coding at university when I was 18. I'm 33 now, so it's been a bit of a journey. And I didn't come into crypto until 2020. And then from there, I just worked really hard. I really made sure that every bit of code that I wrote and line that I wrote was not going to have any issues. Testing it for hours and hours and hours, learning it for hours and hours and hours. When I was working at my Web 2 job, I left my Web 2 job at your normal 9 to 5. I worked till 2 a.m. to learn how to do this with crypto, and it paid off. And yeah, so now we're in a great position, and we're just continually looking for clients. Obviously, I mentioned my co-founder Jake. He's in Miami right now. He's going to be presenting at a hacking event. We're sponsoring the event, and he's going to be delivering some more of information about what we've done and delivering to VCs over there. Yeah, hopefully that answered your question. It's kind of a long, it's a bit of a journey. It's been a journey for sure.
Yeah, it's been a journey, but in anything, it's been a journey. I mean, anything worthwhile, it's going to take some time to get to. I truly believe that, because if it's easy, everyone would do it, right? And so Yeah, all it takes is one. All it takes is one project to kind of spearhead it. Football Phone was for you, that kind of put you on the map, and from there, it's what you do from there. So I think being on the base builder list that they come recommended is a huge step. And like I said, for everyone tuning in, if you're building a project, you can't vibe code everything. Like it's just simply
No.
you just can't. If you especially and as a
You
project,
see it.
yeah,
You
and
see
as a-
it. Even
of
when
course,
you're working with a team,
of
you
course.
see it where people who aren't coders try to code, and then they deliver me their code, and I just have to rewrite it because
No,
it's
of
just a
course.
mess.
No, of
And
course.
it's not compatible with the rest of the code base.
Yeah, and it's like I said, if you want to be taken seriously in a project going forward, you have to invest in quality, like what your service is, or bring on someone who's a CTO who gets it. Like it's imperative, because the quality of production of companies going forward is just. I've been in crypto a long time. Gone are the days where it's just like vibes in a white paper. Nah, you need to have real production, real utility. I mean, and you need to have real developers on your team. So listen, Wesley, we got to run, but how can anyone who's interested in development and hiring somebody, how can they get in contact with you?
Sure. So you can either hit me up on Twitter. That's at Westy_dev, at Westy_dev. You can also go to our website, ethereallabs.io. We also have our own Twitter handle, which is Ethereal Labs. You can find us there. I'm just checking to see the handle changed recently. Ethereal Labs _
Awesome.
is on there. But yeah, best way to look at what we've done in the past is ethereallabs.io. In there, you can see a lot of our clients, ranging from Football Fund to ChronoForge to BZ to even Nub Catcoin. Nub. So we've worked on a lot of different things, and tokenomics.com. And under there, you can see also our testimonials from all the different clients and people who have supported us over the years, supporting the vision of creating Web3 the right way.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, listen, Wesley, it's been a pleasure, man, and thanks for coming on the podcast or live stream on such short notice.
Yeah, lovely to be here. Thank you. Cheers.
All right, that was Wesley from Ethereal Labs. Like I said, if you guys are in the market for a development team or an agency, check them out. Recommended by the base team. All right, guys, that's it. This episode has been brought to you by Swap Royale, and I do have one more spot for a sponsor for the month of May. So if you do want, literally, we live in Attention Con. If you do want quite a bit of coverage, because I do this show quite a bit, hit me up. Very selective on who I decide to bring in, though. So if you are someone of quality and you understand the value of sponsoring a show, hit up your boy and let's talk some numbers, baby. Anyways, appreciate each and every one of you. We're back at it again tomorrow. Same time. Also getting my studio set up. It's going to be dope. I think my neon blue late on base light is coming in. I'm excited for that. We got to up the production value constantly. Late on base. All right, guys. I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully Zcash hits $500 because Data got bills to pay. Peace.